completely different person without the scarf. I know. Hello everyone and welcome. Nargis here. How's everything? Sorry for being this late again. I wouldn't have believed I would have yet another anxiety attack shortly after the previous one. So it means I went through hell again and I'm back. And my condolences to my fellow Iranians everywhere, and especially in Kurdistan province, and also to the Afghan community for the continuation of the bloodshed that's been going on in this country for decades now. And yes, hence the black and hence the scarf I'm not wearing and I'm not intending to wear anytime soon here on this channel. In my previous video, we discussed the first 10 letters of the Persian alphabet, that is from Aleph to Dal, link above and below if I don't forget. So here comes the next part. It's called Zal, Zal, and pronounced Z, but it's a particularly Arabic letter again, and they pronounce it something like the English TH, the. But that significance is lost in Persian again, so we pronounce it like a normal Z, Z or Z. Why am I touching my face so often? I don't know. Examples would include zehn, zehn, which means mind, zoq, zoq, which means joy or excitement, kagaz, kagaz, which is paper, and ghaza, ghaza, which means food or meal, mostly meal. It's called re and is pronounced r, like a tap R or thrill R. Some examples would be ruz, ruz, which means day, par, par, which means feather, mar, mar, which means snake, and baradar, baradar, which means brother. The closest equivalent that you can find in English for this is the R in some posh British accents. They would say something like very. That's the closest you can get, I think. It's called Z and pronounced Z, again like Z or Z. Examples would be zan, zan, which means woman or wife sometimes. Miz, miz, which could be table or desk. Maziar, maziar, which is a name for guys. And riz, riz, which means tiny or teensy-weensy. It's called je, je, and is pronounced zh, like television. Examples would include jale, jale, which is a name for girls, moje, moje, which means eyelash, ejdeha, ejdeha, or in some accents, ejdeha. I would say ejdeha, which is dragon, and jele, jele, which is jelly or jello if you would. Sin, which is pronounced s like s, and examples would include sahel, sahel, which means beach or shore. And I'm really self-conscious regarding my hair because this is the first time I'm talking to you guys without the scarf, so let me have a look. Not terrible, tolerable. Masmoom, masmoom, which means toxic or poisoned, which is sort of oxymoronish, I don't know. Toss, toss, which has two meanings, dice and bald. and khis, khis, which means wet. It's called sheen, sheen, and pronounced sh. Examples: sham, sham, which is dinner or supper; shad, shad, which is happy; mosht, mosht, which means fist; and mash, mash, which is mung bean. It's called sad, sad, and is pronounced s, like a normal S again. This one is actually Arabic, but they pronounce it something like s, like when you're whistling, I think. But that significance is lost in Persian, so we pronounce it like a normal S. S. Examples: sadaf, sadaf, which means shell, like my earrings, which are actually mother of pearl, but we call them sadaf. Seda, seda, which means voice. Qors, qors, which means pill. And nesf, nesf, which means half. It's called zad, zad, and pronounced z, like Z or Z. This one is Arabic again, but they pronounce it something between D and Z. So it would be, how can I put it? Z, if your tongue hits your teeth in the back, like L, L.
You hadn't seen my tongue before, had you?
Like the name for that month when Muslims fast. They would pronounce it Ramadan, so it's not completely D, it's Ramadan. Sorry, Arabs, if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. So again, that significance, the Arabic significance, is lost and gone in Persian, and we pronounce it like a normal Z. Examples: Zaif, zaif, which means weak; faza, faza, which means atmosphere or space; mariz, mariz, which means sick, and I was sick, so سه هفته مریض بودم, which means I was sick for 3 weeks, which I was.
And have you noticed how spoiled I am when I switch to Persian?
And hose, hose, which apparently doesn't have any English translation and is this kind of artificial small ponds, so to speak, in some old Persian mansions. This one is called ta, ta, and is pronounced t, like tea. But this one is Arabic again, but they pronounce it something between t and d, so they would go ta, not ta. Examples would include tavus, tavus, which is peacock, peahen, peafowl; tabiat, tabiat, which is nature; khat, khat, which is line; and neshat, neshat, which is happiness or liveliness. It's called za, za, and is pronounced z, like Z. Another Arabic letter, but they pronounce it like the English th, the, but there's another point to it. It's kind of at the back of your mouth, like le, le. I don't know if I can pronounce that accurately, but yes, th, le, but at the back of your mouth, la. Examples: zahir, zahir, which is appearance, and they would pronounce it something like lahir, lahir.
All the Arabic courses we had in high school.
Lahze, لحظه, which means moment or second, like یه لحظه, which means just a second, or یه لحظه صبر کن, which is wait a second. خدا حافظ, خدا حافظ, which means goodbye and is often shortened to خدافظ. But the literal translation would be may God protect you. So it's a bit different actually from goodbye if we take it word for word. And حفاظ, حفاظ, which is fence. This one is called ain, or as some people call it ain, and is pronounced like a glottal stop. But this one is Arabic also, and they pronounce it like a guttural glottal stop, which I'm going to explain. You can see it in words like mu'allim, mu'allim, which means teacher, and they pronounce it something like mu'allim, mu'allim.
I'm sorry if my Arabic is not that good.
Arusak, arusak, which means doll. Jam, jam, which means to add something to something else. And shuja, shuja, which means brave. It's called qain, qain, or as some people say qain, and is pronounced q, guttural.
You can try choking a bit before you can start learning Persian.
This is another Arabic letter again, but they pronounce it like r, not that deep down here, r. They go r, which is up here, and is very similar to the way French people would pronounce the R's, r, r. In some Persian accents and dialects, I have seen that. They would go ghalat, which means wrong or a mistake, but I would say ghalat, ghalat versus r up here. Examples would be ghurub, ghurub, which means sunset. Actually, the formal pronunciation for this is ghurub, ghurub. I would say ghurub, but some people, including Isfahanis, pronounce it ghurub. And yes, I'm not Isfahani, although I live here in Isfahan. Bogs, bogs, which means the feeling when you're choking up and you feel like you're going to cry. Is it clear? Dog, dog, which means hot. And jig, jig, which means scream. And also gaudy, for example, آرایش jig, which means gaudy makeup. So that was the second part of the Persian alphabet. I hope it won't take 10 years before I can come back with the third part of the Persian alphabet. Thank you for watching, and because it's a digital camera, I'm all nose when I'm close to this, and I don't care because I feel like sitting like this at the moment, and I'm shaking the camera because I've put my hands on the table. So what are you going to do? Subscribe to my channel, like my video, and share it with your loved ones. I will try to be back soon. Goodbye.